Do you know what this is? It's an injected molded plastic toy cheetah from one of those Moldomatics or Moldorama. Those machines used to litter every vacation destination or roadside attraction in America. Now they number about 120 and seem to all be on the East Coast. I should know. They look like they've left them all in Florida. Although most kids are back in school today, that wasn't the case back growing up Gen X. No, we didn't even think about school until the fat lady sang. And by fat lady, I mean Jerry Lewis and his telethon. So we could always squeak by with another vacation. And if we did, these were a must-have summer vacation souvenir. Do you remember the rest? Well, if you don't, come with me, because most of these things are either endangered or extinct. I'm Victor, and straight out of the Gen experience, those once popular travel trinket must-haves that have all but been replaced today. The treasured souvenir staples once synonymous with our summer road trips, now reduced to fond memories. So click that like and let's go. Cheaper than an action figure, your favorite animal or character could be created right before your eyes. With 4 bits and a touch of a button, the Moldorama would inject molten plastic into a steel mold to create anything from a pink flamingo to an alligator wrestler and the creature from the Black Lagoon to a pirate skull. Moldomatic's branded Moldorama plastic souvenir toys were a high point of anyone's summer vacation. A trip to the Space Coast? How about a blue command module? They were the showstoppers as you watched and waited for the finished product right before your eyes. Oh, and that smell. If you like new toy smell like I do, you'd love one that is right off the assembly line. There's a cooling time before this hot item falls into the collection bin. Then, almost ceremoniously, you take the time to chip away the thin plastic overflow pieces where the seams met. Maybe someone even pulled out their handy pocket knife to scrape clean your unique summer souvenir you'd cherish forever. Or at least for the next year it stayed on your shelf. I distinctly remember our Peter Pan, Mickey Mouse, and Snow White figures from Disneyland in 1976. Like a penny press, but better, you can still find these machines here and there, usually ignored by the oblivious. But if you want a shot of nostalgia and got $5, stop and activate this little time machine. Free is not a word we hear much anymore, but once there was some free souvenirs available depending on where you were and how you traveled. When it came to flying, a set of wings was common and complimentary, especially to young first-time flyers. I got mine at 19. The small set of wings to match the flight crew were a great marketing tool branded with the airline logo. Only a couple of United States airlines continue this practice, but you'll just have to ask to be sure. But long before the wings, another airline freebie provided some in-flight entertainment, long before the seat back was the norm. I'm talking playing cards. Along with branded recognition and marketing for the airline, these comp cards also remedied the boredom of long flights by supplying one-of-a-kind sets of playing cards to their passengers. The designs were often changed, sometimes featuring new destinations, routes, and even highlighting flight attendants. They quickly became both collectible and status symbols, and often never opened. I can imagine a game of bridge or pinochle was the perfect distraction any passenger needed while jammed onto a long metal tube careening through the sky at 600 miles an hour. Now, with crushed quarters and smaller seatback tables, I can't imagine it's either comfortable or even feasible to play a hand of poker with your travel companions. Like a blanket, airline playing cards are an almost extinct extra. Delta offers trading cards. And surprisingly, some airlines still make playing cards. Not surprisingly, you have to pay for them. They're not even as creative or unique as they once were. These plain cards are now just plain. Standard logo branding with nothing of interest have made these no longer sought after by souvenir seekers. The steady stream of cars, the growing highways, even air travel and road trips were ubiquitous by the mid-20th century and led to the demand of souvenirs, the treasured keepsakes to commemorate a visit somewhere, anywhere. Like the Silver Spoon vacation destination collectibles of world travelers past that were a hit through the early part of the 20th century, plates and serving trays were the next flatware favorites for summer vacation memories. Functional but completely decorative, the serving tray seemed more casual, useful, while the plate seemed like fine china you might prop up in a curio. They seemed to be in 2 separate classes, although their subject matter was the same, usually state-themed designs. Both could be hand-painted and depicted visions of popular cities, the state bird or fruit, and even popular places of interest. The 70s was a big time for these, even introducing the scalloped edge and glass trays. While still functional, what separated the two was whether you would serve drinks on it or mount it to a wall. I think my mother enjoyed welcoming guests while serving from the tray of the Black Hills or Devil's Tower. And she didn't have much time for a pristine white plate with ornate outer edge and gorgeous one-of-a-kind painting of the Washington Monument front and center. They were a great conversation starter with friends and guests, bragging about where you had gone and they hadn't. What's not to love? Still in housewares, if you're going to serve guests with your Florida Orange Grove tray, you're going to probably get lit. And by lit, I mean light up a smoke. While the kids' school ceramic project was just too special to actually use, you had no qualms about extinguishing your butt all over Las Vegas or the Statue of Liberty. Tin, ceramic, porcelain, glass, and lucite, you name it, the ashtray was made from it. Beautified with hand-painted scenes of famous state sites or popular tourist attractions, they also had some variety in shape and plenty of spaces for cigarettes to rest on their design. Souvenirs that were popular and practical. Sitting on the side table, the coffee table, the dining table. Don't forget extras for the holidays. You could never have enough of these in the 70s. You could always make it easy and, like the towels, just snatch one from your hotel. They came with the matchbook, right? Ironically, the lovely artwork of your treasured travel location was quickly rendered a scorched landscape, a blot of ember and ash completely obscuring the image that was meant to mark your trip, now a burnt-out memory of the past. Seems fitting. It might surprise you that postcards are not as popular as they once were. I know, right? Oh, there are no shortage, especially in beach towns with classics like... But most of the time they're just reading material. No one buys these. They just gather dust. And if you do happen to pick one up, they're not sent anywhere. It's a gag to give someone or hang on the fridge. But once display stands were full and they needed to be restocked often. You didn't go on a trip without getting a postcard, and the fun was sending it there, right from the lobby. There were even whole books of postcards, like decks, connected together. You could tear one off when you were ready to tell everyone back home you wished they were there at the Grand Canyon, Washington, D.C., or even at the pool of your motel. These books made up for not having the perfect picture, or not enough film to capture it all. These books are almost completely forgotten today, just eBay fodder. And the hotel-motel postcard is basically extinct. If you hadn't picked up one at the front desk, there might be one in your room, capturing the frolic of life by the pool of your motel. In its prime. Strangely, the image on the postcard never quite looked like how you saw it, but that didn't stop your obligation to write your friends and show them just how much fun you were having in what really was just a cheap dive.
Well, the mattress is soft, and there's hangers in the closet, and stationery with Bates Motel printed on it in case you want to make your friends back home feel envious. And the, over there.
It's amazing how many souvenirs were once free. Or more accurately, what free things we considered to be souvenirs. There's a difference. But I too thought matchbooks were a super souvenir, and I loved to collect them right into the 90s. Then again, I loved to also ignite a match and just watch it glow. But that's between me and my therapist. The souvenir matchbook is not too far off from its airline cousins, and I'm sure there were airline matchbooks. But what I remember were restaurants, diners, coffee shops and cafes, and even lounges. Sitting so perfectly in the ashtray or carefully placed on the table was a matchbook. A smoker or not, the business expected you to take them. It was free advertising and a free keepsake. They would be used by you, seen by family, and be a constant reminder of that establishment or destination, hopefully convincing you to return. Seeing and using the matchbook did keep the location on my mind for sure, so the branded matches did work. And like everything else on the list, usually included gorgeous artwork or uniquely designed logos that drew you back to a place and time you hoped to revisit. It may have been marketing, but it was a great way to mark a special memory with family or friends. I can't tell you how many matchbooks I found over the years, either full or with one or two matches left, complete with the scorched evidence of striking the cover, that remind me of times I can only visit in my mind. I remember finding some of these random souvenirs in our house, if you can call them souvenirs. I wondered how we got them. Were they extras? Did they break off? Had my brothers or sisters stolen them? Probably the latter. Room keys would come attached with a large plastic fob that made sure the world knew where you were staying. Just as long as they didn't have the room numbers printed on the... Oh. Yeah, okay. Yikes. It was a different time. The Holiday Inn, the Howard Johnson, or wherever, made it hard to lose the room key. With the big plastic tag hanging on the outside of your pocket, they were reminiscent of a gas station restroom key, but you could still easily lose or break it. But it was just as easy to check out and return home to find this unexpected memory of your vacation hideaway. Back when you had a physical key and lock, I just hope the hotel had them rekeyed when this happened. They probably wished you just stole the towels. The poor man's vacation slideshow was the exciting wonder that was Viewmaster. Like the postcards and postcard books, the Viewmaster travel reels were pictures you never thought to get, that you missed, or were probably going to stick your thumb in front of. As multiple rolls of film weren't cost effective, you had to be judicious of what snapshot you would take. Retakes were out of the question. The Viewmaster provided an interactive way to share your dream vacation with friends and family when you got home, although you weren't in any of the pictures. Luckily, the reels were often available in the gift shops of the local attractions. The Viewmaster vacation reels could provide a professional and three-dimensional trip back to a new favorite destination, and you'd have these before your picture prints came back from the photo lab. There were hundreds of disc options and a logical addition to anyone's souvenir haul. You only needed the reels because, let's face it, everybody had a Viewmaster at home. An evolution of the postcard paved way for another option to capture your memories, the souvenir pictorial. Pictures of your travels had been around since the 1800s when people picked up small paintings of the location to commemorate a visit. By the 60s, 70s, and 80s, full-page, glossy annuals that sold themselves as the grand tour of anything from a theme park, monument, or landmark were widely available. The books had been refined over the decades and were in their heyday during the Gen Experience. You could count on them to highlight the best of the destination so you could showcase your sophistication, depending on where you went. What these had that photos, postcards, and even Viewmaster reels didn't was copy. Lots and lots of written words, used to help tell the whole story. Paint the picture in broad strokes of the history behind the historical. Feeling like the student life section of a yearbook from the time, I fondly remember the 1970s souvenir books for Universal Studios Hollywood. I still have about 4 or 5 of them. Disney and even National Treasures would offer these softback books. Sure, you can find all these vintage pictures online today and the history of these places. Whether the information is real or accurate is a completely different story, but it's easy to access. However, the physical books still flourish at the theater. That's right, Broadway. When you exit a show, a pictorial capturing every behind-the-scenes moment of the experience we were not allowed to photograph is waiting for you. Still uncommon in most popular attractions today. There was always something so satisfying flipping through the pages of physical media, but the evolution of the pictorial fared even worse. Lasting far shorter than any picture book, the VHS travel log of your trip has gone way of the dodo. For a brief moment in time, the video cassette adventure of your trip was the newest thing. I had them. My first was a day at Tokyo Disneyland that my father's Japanese business colleague brought me. I cherished the tape. Now I have nothing to play it on. But as you'd expect, the VHS was far more expensive to create and definitely to keep current. Often called a day at insert location, these produced digital memories meant you could take less pictures. Just buy a VHS tape of the ideal trip to watch time and again, albeit through the eyes of some fake family hired as actors. Even for a shorter blip, the VHS turned DVD, and then they were gone. Another death by internet, but there are other things that you got that would last, even if hanging on your bedpost or pinned to your wall. Most famously, the souvenir that at one time was probably the most celebrated and ubiquitous vacation takeaway ever. The pennant. Not just for college football anymore. After humble beginnings of school pride, it became most synonymous with baseball, where the winner of each league's championship would get to fly a pennant after the team's victory. The inexpensive nature and ease of creativity meant that anywhere could share in the pennant's success as a memory maker. Pennants became such a part of the national tradition that everyone wanted to have one, or 100 of their own. With the rise of roadside attractions in the mid-20th century, souvenir pennants hit their stride. There was a pennant not only for every national monument, but you couldn't stop at a gas station or mom and pop business without discovering countless colorful isosceles triangles offered to commemorate the trip. By the late 90s, technology got the better of us, and since they have no practical purpose like a t-shirt, hat, or app, they have faded away like the bright colors on their felt designs. Not impossible to get, but not as sought after as they once were. There certainly weren't as many souvenir options as there are today, but these familiar and common treasures were kind of a shared experience, must-haves from our vacations of the past. And this last one was not only a necessity, but free with your purchase. What else but a branded merchandise bag would make carrying your treasures to the car so easy? Seemingly afterthoughts, bags of paper would become not only marketing tools but memory makers, emblazoned with bold art, familiar logos, and themed holiday designs for every zoo, aquarium, science center, or any other amusement. Everyone else saw where you had been and you liked it enough to buy something. But you saw a casual reminder of a moment in time, a place you enjoyed during a summer vacation or road trip. Paper bags could be ornate or minimalistic, but they would get a plastic upgrade, sometimes with a plastic handle to rival any mall shopping experience. The bags were unique and would change often and were handy free souvenirs to carry your tangible memories home with you. Most of the time, the images on the bag were not found on other merchandise and were something you could save, even collect. Ending your visit on a high note, this freebie would be taken home to the envy of your friends. Just like those awesome guidebooks you'd thumb through free with entry. Today, bags are fairly innocuous and unremarkable. Bland with stale branding and common logos that rarely change. With very little to make them interesting, they're no more than large, indistinctive recyclables. And the map? They didn't fare well either. Gone is physical media as apps that you click in and out of, increase and decrease picture size with, and press links to do anything. The map, like the bag, might still be around, but no longer the keepsake it once was. During the Gen experience, we made out like bandits with pennants, picture books, plastic molded toys, hats, matchbooks, playing cards, and more. Including those wall-sized, fun-style maps, too. Those were huge. They weren't just the usual, they were exciting must-haves for any traveler. With summer coming to an end, the last effort to enjoy summer vacation closes in. We were once left with so many impressive goodies. Tchotchkes, really, that told a story and took us back to a special time when we made memories, not moments to post. The t-shirt and ball caps are still there to remember the intangible moments of a trip, but it is the popcorn bucket and the seasonal over-the-top food options that are today's popular treasures, not because they remind us of an incredible family vacation, but due to just how Instagrammable they are and how much validation and clout someone's gonna get online. So how many of these classic souvenir staples did you have? And did you click the like and subscribe? I hope so. How many of these things do you still have today and which were your favorites? Please share with us in the comments and please peruse the channel for more of what made the Gen experience awesome. Until next time.